Welcome to Lance Riggen's Money Mindset, the show where wealth is built with strategy, freedom is created with intention, and legacy starts with the decisions you make today. Hosted by Lance Riggen, this podcast dives into real conversations about investing, entrepreneurship, real estate, mindset, and building a life on your terms. If you're ready to think bigger, move smarter, and take control of your financial future, then you're in the right place. This is Lance Riggen's Money Mindset. Let's get into it.
Okay, everybody, let's get started. Thanks so much for everyone that's here and could make it. I want to be respectful of your time. I am recording this, so I'll be able to send it out with both underwriting Zooms as I split it into two because it took longer to just make sure that I went through everything. But we're going to do some agent calls today. I have a park that I was analyzing for the underwriting Zoom that I'm going to pull up in a minute. If you feel like you're missing some pieces to the questions that I answered, just know that I'll be covering all of that in the Zoom that I'm going to send you. So that will fill in the blanks. Does anybody have any parks that they've been looking at that they want me to call their agents today, or are we just going to go with some of the parks that I've been looking at? No worries, no worries. Anyone can just unmute if they want to, but just let me know. So, okay, perfect. Hey, Dennis, thanks so much for popping in. Okay, so let me do a screen share and I'll tell you a little bit about the park that I'm going to be calling on real quick. Which one is which? This one. Whoops. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this part came to us from a dog who's actually an agent that Lance, I forget how Lance sourced him or if he found Lance, but he's been sending us some good deals. It's always a benefit if you have like a unicorn agent who understands, the front end, the back end of the transaction, as well as creative finance, which this guy does. He knows what our buy box is, so he's sending us deals. So he's just bird dogging though. He's happy to be, acting as an agent or just, sourcing some deals just to get a little piece of it. Is everybody okay with the dogs in the background? I have my kids here. One of them's leaving to work. I just want to make sure that it's not too loud. Give me thumbs up if okay. Because they're loud in my ears. So it's a good sized park, 70 spaces. It appears to be more long-term than transient. That's one of the questions that came up when I was going through this. Let me scroll down to the financials. There was a couple red flags on this. One, it's overpriced, way overpriced by over $1 million based on my underwriting. And like I said, I'm just bringing you guys up to speed. I do a total deep dive on this one. But they have really low management. The repairs and maintenance aren't broken out. I'm going to be asking them for, a better breakdown of finances. And sometimes you'll see this on the OMs, the offering memorandums, and that's fine for a napkin analysis, but it doesn't give you a full picture. One of the other questions that I need answered is the repairs and maintenance. I need that broken apart so that I can take that out. I need to know what type the utilities are, if they're city or septic. I want to know if the manager is good. I want to know what the manager does if I were to keep them on site after sale. Probably not. I want to know what the county zoning is. This one's close enough that to the larger city of San Angelo that I believe that it should still be in city, but I don't know. So I want to know that. It looks like there was a little bit of additional land on the park where I could possibly expand. I'm going to ask the agent about that. And I want P&Ls. There's nothing in this OM that is more in depth than this right here. And then I need to know if they're long-term tenants versus transient. So those are the questions that I've come up with so far, just kind of going through this. I'm just going to put them on speaker I think most of you guys are muted. Let me just double check. Oh well. I just have you guys on this little split screen right here. So I don't know how many of you have made agent calls before. It's pretty simple. They may screen you. They may want to ask about, what experience you have. Please feel free to, lean on mine and Lance's experience and just, call us partners. But they're going to want to make sure, sometimes they'll want to make sure you're not a bird dog. They might want to, just vet you a little bit, see what your experience is. And once you start talking the talk, and you'll learn some of that through listening to me, and I can do some calls with you until you feel comfortable with it. They just want to make sure that they're talking with somebody who's serious. They're getting a lot of calls from bird dogs. So typically agent phone numbers are listed at the bottom of the OM. I'm going to start with Arthur, then call Chad. And if I have to call the VP Kevin, I'm not sure how familiar he will be with this deal, but we're going to see. Lance always has us call them 3 times in a row. I think it's a pace thing. I can get a little leery of that because I don't want to bug the crap out of them, but I do need answers for my underwriting, so I'm fine being a pest. So I'm going to just put this on speaker. Hopefully everybody can hear, and we'll see if we can get some answers from somebody. I'm going to grab the name of the park again because I want to remember that as soon as somebody answers. Hooling. Hey, my name is Jessie Riggen. I'm calling. Your number's on the OM for Hooling RV Park in San Angelo, Texas.
Yes,
Are you going to be the best broker to speak with about that?
yes, yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay. So I was sent this OM by an agent friend of mine. He's not representing us, and I looked through it. I did some napkin analysis this morning. I just had some questions that came up while I was doing that. So I can go through the list of questions that I have. Hopefully you have the answers. You might have to email me some of the info. So the first one, let me scroll up to the financials. So, and I'd love a P&L, but for now, the repairs and maintenance, it's grouped together. It's at 16.8. Can you break that up for me and let me know? Is it just the true 300 per lot? Is that like lawn mowing, or were there any repairs done in the year of these financials?
No repairs. I mean, it's all city water, septic, all tenant-owned homes. He doesn't own any of the units. It's all RV. 75, $700 a month. He's owned it for 40 years. Pretty.
Oh, wow. Did he build this park? Can you hear me okay? Oh, oh. Sorry about that. Oh, you connected to my headphones. I'm so sorry. Can you repeat that? The last thing I heard you say was that he's owned it for 40 years.
Yeah, he's owned it for 40 years. Mom and pop. He's hands-on, operates it too. Lives locally. $700 a month.
Darn it.
There isn't much in terms of the upkeep of the park, given it's all tenant owned. He doesn't own any of the units in the park. It's all RV. So I could get you. I mean, reach out to him, seeing if I can get more of a breakdown. I do have a lot of his books. Just it's on a month-to-month basis. He's as mom and pop as you can get in terms of an owner. Just trying to clean up his books as of late has been his focus, because he does it kind of like the back of the napkin, or he's not as organized with all that. He's given me just lately. He's gotten it up to date and fixed a lot of the stuff. But he's given me month to month income and expense statements I'd be able to send over to you.
Okay. Yeah, I would love that. Does he keep pretty good books? Or I get that it's mom and pop. We're used to that. Maybe not so much of a up-to-date software, but does he seem to keep pretty clean books, or is he running some cash maybe that's not accounted for, or anything a little sloppy?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. It's just like he's not up to speed in terms of how to do the best bookkeeping, given all the technology and everything like that. So he's pretty old school, is what I'm I guess, trying to get at.
Yeah, no,
But
that's totally fine. I appreciate that. So,
you have, I mean, month to month or yeah, monthly books and records, or like, just a month recently. So continue that, or be able to give you a pretty good idea.
yeah, I'd love to see 25 at a glance and then see what 26 has been doing so far. Um, you already answered a couple of my questions with your first comment. So, the on-site manager, is that what he's paying himself, or is that somebody that's at the park?
I think they're at the park and they get free rent, and then
Okay.
maybe a little bit of a salary or a little bit of some on top of that. But that's the current situation.
Does he like them? Does he think that they do a good job?
They do a very, very good job. He's had them for a long time,
Okay, okay.
and they stay on. So it's pretty seamless in terms of the operations there for a new owner. But
So they're
yeah,
doing most of that. They're handling most of the on-site stuff.
Yep,
Okay.
pretty much.
Oh, that's great. How long have they been with him? Roughly?
I think for a while, I'd say 10+ years.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Get you an exact, but rough estimate, that's where we're at.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. When I was looking at it from the I usually go to like Google Earth and I'll look at it from an aerial view. It looked like there was I don't know if it was the east or west side of the park, but it looked like it was just raw land.
Yeah, you can do some expansion to it. You can add a little bit, probably 15, 20 more.
Okay. Is it
And
county?
it's, yeah, RV, city water and septic, 14 tanks.
15 tanks. Sorry, say that again. You said 14 tanks, but you said it's city septic, city sewer, or it's septic. It's city water.
City water and septic,
Okay.
14 septic tanks.
14 tanks. Has he replaced any of those?
He keeps up with them pretty frequently. I get you some feedback on it. I think he's replaced one or two, but he's kept up with it.
Okay. Did he build this park or did he buy it 40 years ago?
He built it.
Oh, cool.
Or his family built it. I think his grandfather or something, or dad.
Okay. Is he just ready to retire? He's kind of done with it because it seems pretty hands off.
Yeah, no, he's looking to retire and move up to Dallas where his kids are.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a couple hours from there. I'm over here in East Texas, so I get it. I mean, I don't understand living in Dallas. I would never want to live in that city, but that's fine. Teach their own, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in California, so
Yeah, I noticed the phone number said something. So yeah, I get it. So okay, last question that I had was are they long-term or transient? It seems like just from the photos that there's a higher, I mean, it looks like people are living there more long-term. It seems like they're still keeping it clean, but people have, structures and awnings.
yeah, no, it operates like a mobile home park. It's long term. It's not like your typical RV. People come in and stuff. Not as much of a hospitality component. If you know how, yeah, the kind of business model for mobile homes versus RV looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, I currently have a hybrid over in Midland, so it's got some RVs in it and some mobile homes, so I do get that aspect of it. But he doesn't have like any software. It's all just standard old school.
I think he has a bookkeeper. He sent me some books, like that's like typed out and stuff. So I mean, I could send you that just on a, but it's month to month. He doesn't have any years, so he's been working on that. But
Okay.
I have the month to month breakdowns more recent months.
Has he had an appraisal lately, or did you guys kind of run through the numbers and help him price it?
I mean, we're looking at it in terms of the value of the cap rate, the return. Haven't had an official, I guess, appraisal, but I mean, ultimately, you're buying off the income.
Yeah.
So I guess whoever the buyer is, if they want an appraisal or stuff. He may have a more recent one, I believe, too, maybe a few years ago. But in terms of the price, that's kind of where we're at, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to see that if he had one, just because, anything that's going to come with the bank loan is going to need an appraisal. It's going to be based off of, well, not only what it's doing, but a couple other factors. And that's why I'm asking. My underwriting is, of course, showing me something different, and that's normal. I didn't know, if he had had a recent appraisal that would maybe, justify a different number that I'm coming up with. So I just wanted to ask.
I mean, not since I've had it on the market, but prior, possibly a few years ago, I could touch base on all that. If you'd like, I can give you an email, mine too. Maybe speak to or shoot over maybe your information, some more questions you have, and circle back and start some dialogue there.
Okay. So if everybody's good, I'm just gonna pick another park out. We're just gonna have fun. We're gonna call a couple parks that I haven't really looked at or maybe didn't like. My name is Jessie Riggen. How are you?
Hey, Jesse, doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. I am calling about Shady Oaks RV Resort.
Okay. What can I do for you?
I have peeked through the OM this morning and I just wanted to see if you could bring me up to speed with anything that I'm not seeing in here. I haven't started underwriting, so I don't have a lot of questions. I just kind of wanted to get brought up to speed.
Okay. The ownership group is located in multiple time zones, and to quote their own words, we're not good at managing RV parks because it's not within our scope of what we do, and this doesn't fit our investment portfolios, so time to sell it. Kind of the backstory on that is they bought it, I think, in 22, and they put a manager in place. They've been absentee owners the whole time, and they made a bad decision with the first guy they put in there. And it went from a thriving park when they bought it to the opposite of that.
Ouch.
And then they were able to bring a old employee back to run the park, and they got it turned around. And in 2025, they got it up to about 67% average occupancy for the year. Still some room to improve on that, but the NOI was 417,500 roughly. What's killing it though is they had 90,000 in payroll and 60,000 in electric costs because it is not currently sub-metered.
Yeah.
So the 3 points of opportunity are, improve the occupancy up to the 80% stabilized rate. And I was just down there today showing the park to somebody, and they have 4 open RV sites and everything else is booked.
Oh, lovely.
And the 5-bedroom guest lodge is booked through the end of the year already by a work crew, and that's at $4,500 a month on that one.
You guys close to like pipeline work out there?
There's some pipeline work. There's some new pipeline work coming in. There's a sand mine project just across the Texas border that they've got people down there for that. There's some power line work going on. And I just learned too that they are fixing to break ground in Boswell on a 1,000 acre patch site for a major power plant.
Okay. That's awesome.
And that's going to be a multi-year project, and Boswell's about 15 minutes away from Hugo, I think.
Okay. Going up. That's awesome. Yeah, we're not too far from there. We're in East Texas, but we're, probably 4 or 5 hours from here, so not far at all. I love that there's some infrastructure going in. That's lovely. That's a bummer that they bought the park that maybe didn't fit their asset class. Was there a reason that they bought it? Was it just it looked like a good opportunity and
they thought it was an avenue they wanted to get into?
Okay.
And they just kind of learned that it's really not where their interest lies.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a different beast for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the bad manager's gone. I just took some notes. Thank you for all the info. It was fast and furious, so I took notes as quick as I could. So bad management. So it sounds like 23 is probably going to look really bad on the financials, but did they turn it around in 24 or 25?
So 24, I think the gross income was around 250, and in 25 it was almost 420. It was like 417, 500 and change. So big turnaround from 24 to 25. and they're at almost full occupancy right now.
Okay. And it's a small population, so besides like the work around there, I see some of the photos have a lake in it. Is that pretty destination heavy area in summer?
She openings and a lot of vacation type traffic in the summer.
Okay. What about winter? Is it super seasonal or is it fairly year round?
I think if I go back and look at the occupancy report, they were in between that 60 and 70% this winter.
Oh, that's great.
And with the amount of work going on in the area, I could see that number being higher moving forward for the next few years, especially.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm just going through a couple of the last pages, investment highlights, buyer profile. So you think that it's going to be best for an owner operator?
I think it would be most profitable for an owner operator. That doesn't mean that someone who operates it from a distance can't make it work.
Mhm.
Putting the utility management system on there, like a smart metering system,
Yeah.
that would go a long way towards cutting those electrical costs. And then, probably being a little more judicious on the employment, who you employ, what they do,
Yeah.
how many people there are, what they're paid. I don't think 90,000 is probably necessary.
Yeah, that seemed a little high.
Right. The on-site manager gets paid about 45,000. And then they
Okay.
have some part-time people that don't know what they all did. I don't know if they know what they all did, honestly.
Okay, fair enough. Is that on-site manager, is that the one that came back and brought it back up that was pretty good? Is that the one that was running it before they bought it?
She was involved when they bought it, and she was not the head manager. She had a falling out with that head manager because of the way he was doing some things, and she left.
Okay.
They convinced her to come back after they fired the other individual.
Okay. Would she stay on through transition? Does she know the park is being sold?
She's aware.
Okay.
She would potentially stay on for transition. I don't know long term how long she would want to stay on for. That would be a conversation for new ownership and her.
For sure. I just didn't know if she had expressed anything, to the sellers like, hey, I'd love to stay on. So okay. And that's fine.
About it, and she said ultimately she doesn't want to stay there forever.
Yeah.
But she would be interested in working through a transition.
Okay. Okay. Are you able to send me the last couple years just so that I can peek at it and do a full underwriting?
So where are you looking at the information at right now?
So I'm looking at the OM. Let me see. It's 12 pages. Shady Oaks RV.
So all of the information loaded to the due diligence section on Crexy. So if you sign the confidentiality agreement there, you can access it.
Okay.
And it's got 25 P&L, 24 P&L, and they have the 23 on there also. And I've got the trailing 12 month by month. I think that's on Crexy too, along with the occupancy report over the last 12 months as well.
Okay. Yep, I see it. I'm in here now looking at it. Cool. April 2026 performa. Park map. Yeah. Oh, this is great. I love it. I think I was already signed in. It didn't ask me to sign anything, but I'm fine with that. And it's only been on a couple weeks.
Correct.
Okay.
And full disclosure to you, I have worked with someone. We've worked through an LOI, and we're close to putting a PSA together.
Okay.
But just to kind of give you a general idea of what the ownership is looking at from the seller finance aspect of it, at 2.6, they're needing roughly a 50% down payment to cover their current note on it to be able to be first position on no seller finance.
Okay, so they won't subordinate.
They can't. The type of loan they have would get called.
No, I'm sorry. If I came in with a bank loan that took out their current first position and they carried majority equity, then they'd be subordinating to the new loan that's in.
That would be a different question. Kind of what they're looking at right now. It's a 4-year balloon with a down payment that's coming in to clear the bank note and cover closing costs.
Okay. Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. I was just being curious on what they, yeah, 1-3 down. Okay.
I don't think they want to be in second position.
Okay, and that's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify and make sure that that's what it sounded like. So they want their debt cleared. They want to stay in first, preferably.
That's their preferred approach on it.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. I know I'm going through my first commercial loan, and it's been interesting. It's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of different lenders, just figuring out what banks will cover what and then what delta they want me to bring to the table. So I get it.
Yeah, it typically it's cleaner when, if someone comes in with a few partners and they bring in the capital, and then there's no bank loan involved at that point.
Yeah, 100%. My first park was like that, and it was easy peasy, at least in terms of that side. So I get it. Okay. Well, I'm going to go through this DD packet. Thank you for pointing me this way. And then, yeah, circle back. Maybe I'll be able to send you something that could work before you put together the PSA. And if not, there'll be another one.
Sure. And, we will still entertain a backup, because until it closes, you never know that a deal's going to close in commercial stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah. That's the story of my life right now. So accept backup. Okay. Well, that's all I have right now. I appreciate you bringing me up to speed. I think everything else I need is in this packet. I have your email on Crexy now, so if I have anything else, I'll shoot you a quick email and we'll go from there.
Sounds great. I appreciate it.
Yep.
I'm driving at the moment, so I haven't been able to write any notes down. So if you could shoot me a quick email with your contacts and all that, I'll have it to file.
Yeah, I'll do that. And I'll do like a recap on what we chatted about.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You too.
Bye. Well, what do you know? Is everybody good for another call? Listen to me blab to some agents. Okay. Hey, thanks for calling me back. I'm just making my calls, so I was already on another call by the time you dialed me back.
No, I get it. Yeah.
I ended up speaking with Greg first. He was driving, so I'm happy to hear that you're not. He sounded like he was driving with the windows down.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, so I just wanted to call and see if you could bring me up to speed on this property. I had a bird dog send it to me, and so I'm just looking. I have the OM. That gives me a fair amount of info, but I'm looking for you to just let me know, kind of where it's at.
Yeah, which I have about 100 properties. Which one?
Oh, Meadow Rue, Cottonwood RV Park in Woodward.
Yes. Yeah, we get a lot of action on that one, and it's and here's the deal on it. It's and I just don't want to waste your time. The seller is not entertaining seller finance at all.
Yep, that's fine.
And so it's a really great property. The thing that, the kicker really is, for the last 3 years, the monthly rate has only been $350 plus electricity. So, the owner's kept it like that. He wants to show, even at $350 a month, that this thing can cash flow pretty well. And so that kind of allows a new owner to step in and, I would think about the average in Oklahoma's $400 a month, and especially for that area, because there's not too many options. and it's a lot of workers. It's oil field workers and wind farm workers. There's like a contract out to build, I think, another 300 windmills in Woodward. They already have, like 1,000, but it's, the people that are staying there are like work 2 weeks on, 1 week off type of deal. So I think you could get away with, at least $50 to maybe $75 a month increase, with, upon purchase. And I don't think you would lose many people. But it's, we've had it on the market, I think maybe over a year. We've taken it off. We've been under contract twice, actually. And both times, one was a straight up offer. Then they, started kind of trading us at the table. And, with both offers, and I never do this, but they were out of state. So it's like, well, I understand you got to fly out and see it and all that stuff. And, so I said, you know what, if you guys are, don't want to put earnest money down, but you still want to make an offer, I can get the title work going. And that was probably my fault, because if they don't want to put earnest money down, they're probably not serious.
Yeah.
And so we had it locked up both times for at least 90 days. And, they didn't want to get a survey, and, and I couldn't really back out of the contract, but they just let us on till the very last minute, and, ended up busting. But I mean, long story short, he's kind of at the point where, he's calling me and he's like, Zach, why am I even selling this thing? I almost don't have a good answer, because it's cash flowing. He, doesn't really care to sell it. He bought a gas station kind of on the other side of the state. And so him and his wife, are kind of trying to, move out that way. And so it is owner managed. So we don't account for a management fee. All the other expenses are taken into account. They're on the OM, but you would probably need, somewhat of a manager, even if it's part-time. There's no employees at the park, but we've gotten lucky. There's a couple that have lived there for 5 years, and he's kind of our non-employed maintenance guy.
Yeah.
And we give him $275 off the rent, and the park has a golf cart and a lawnmower, and so he takes care of that, and then his wife helps out, cleans the bathrooms, and we can kind of call on him to, if there's something small, like a breaker needs to be popped on one of the pads, he can do that. But for the most part, it's pretty hands off, because it's on security system. Almost everyone pays. They do the Cash App, or they do, and they pull into the park. They scan a QR code at the pad, and most people just do everything online. There's a few that still want to write a check, and they drop it off at the box there, and we'll collect it every couple months. But the operating costs are pretty small. Taxes, I think, are about $4,000 a year. So those are going to re-rate, when you buy it at a larger price. But the operating costs are almost nothing to run this park. And it stays full. Wintertime, it dips down a little bit, but it's consistent. You got 3 years, kind of proof. So that's kind of where we're at.
Okay. And how long did you say they had on this?
A little over 3 years.
Okay. And they've been running it the whole time. They're not living on site running it, are they? Are they running it kind of remotely?
Yeah, they run it remote. They live in Oklahoma City, which is 2.5 hours away. And I mean, right now I have the owner's whole portfolio up for sale. He's got an office building and he's got one other gas station, but he like I said, he just bought this one gas station and he's really trying to spend all his time on that. So he's kind of liquidating, everything else. So, and he bought it, he put in he put a fence around, the whole lot. He cleaned it up, he put in new power. So all the pads have, their own separate electricity meter.
Yeah, so he implemented that.
Right. And
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of that.
Okay, so it looks like the whole park was built in 2004.
Yes,
Okay, and is it county?
it is county. So
Okay,
which is great because you don't have to have a permit
for
to
sure.
run the park. And if you do want to build more structures, and there actually is 1.5 acres, maybe even 2 acres. I'd say it's closer to 2 acres of kind of more or less vacant land where you could put more pads or you could put some tiny homes. It's up kind of, I guess it'd be the northwest corner of the property. And so I think if I was doing it, I'd probably do some tiny homes maybe because
Yeah.
it's long term. I mean, they're workers. And that's the other thing is there's never been any problems at the park. I mean, people, they're either gone working or they're there, sleeping.
Yeah.
It's and there was a game room, and I guess there still is a game room in the middle of the property, and we put a pool table, a TV in there. But then after a year or so, we realized nobody actually, wanted to go hang out there, which we thought. People just hung out in their RV. So last summer, we were at 100% occupancy, and we had an oil worker come in, and he said, "Hey, I really need somewhere to stay," And we said, well, we have a space. It doesn't, the bathrooms are in their own outhouse shower area, not connected to the game room. And we said, well, we could, rent this out to you for $750 a month. And so he ended up taking it, and he's been there ever since.
Okay. Okay. I appreciate that. I'm looking at my notes, going back and forth to see if there's anything, and I'm sure there will be once I go through it. But let's chat about him not being open to seller finance, and that's fine, right? So bank loan is going to look like probably an SBA. I'm guessing from what I've seen, there's a lot of the private section that's not doing much right now because of what's going on across the pond. Just to say that. So SBA, and that's can be upwards of 6 months. If we agreed on something, he's not gonna lose his mind waiting 6 months to close, is he?
I mean, I don't think so. I would just, do you need to lock up the property? I mean, do you need us to take it off the market, for that 6 months?
Well, so I can't get approved for a loan unless I have an active PSA. And if I have an active PSA, you could list me contingent, but I'm still first runner. And I don't think it would take that long, but between appraisals and, me having to start paying some fees and putting EMD down, yeah, you would need to at least, put it pending or contingent.
Yeah. No, I think we could do that. I think it just boils down to, escrow amount and, maybe you guys doing some work up front to see, okay, is this even feasible, to getting an SBA loan? I wouldn't think it would be, but I don't know. I've never done an SBA loan for RV park. So
Yeah. They're probably the most reliable lending we could get right now.
well, I'm just wondering, what's wrong with just getting, a conventional loan and putting 25-30% down and just calling it a day and linking up with a local Oklahoma bank.
Well, and that was going to be my next comment, outside of a local bank, which is fine, but like I'm in East Texas, right? So I'm not too far from you guys, but I'd have to call and make some connections, or if you have referrals, I'm fine with that. But I have some lenders that I work with right now, and anything that's like quicker, that's private, as in bridge or even office, is
Yeah.
is not doing this. They've turned down. I have a park right now in Tennessee, and it has just been denial after denial. No part of mine, no part of the parks, just because that's where they're at. So I can go to a local bank if you have recommendations, but ultimately it's going to come down to appraisal, what that delta is for financing, and then moving it through. So SBA is, they're rigid and forgiving at the same time, right? They have pros and cons the same as a local bank.
Okay. So are they going to appraise it on the property value and the income, or?
I mean, it should be a mixture of both. I don't actually know the question to that. I'd have to wait for, my broker to tell me that.
Yeah, I think it would just take, honestly, I get a call probably once a week on, someone, I got probably, I'm not kidding, 85 offers on this RV park, and they all seem, fishy. And I'm not saying this seems fishy. This seems, pretty good. But, we're kind of at the point where it's like, it's cash flowing. We're kind of waiting for someone to really step up to the window and buy it. And if we never get that buyer, then that's fine, because it's pretty low maintenance. I just think, for us to lock it up for 6 months, I think there needs to be probably a pretty good earnest money deposit. And obviously it's refundable, at the end of due diligence or whatever. But I think that's the only way, we could do that. And I mean, what do you think? I mean, are they cash heavy where, they could put 60,000 down in escrow, or?
Yes, so that's available. And I was probably getting ahead of myself on the call, I guess, just based on what I'm going through on my other park right now. These are some of the things that I'm finding out. So I'm trying to have these conversations up front. Do I think it will take 6 months? No. Am I going to ask you to contract on 6 months? Probably not, but I am going to need clauses in there that say, hey, I'm going to need extensions based on what my broker and, SBA is telling us. And if they come back to us and say, I don't know, we need a blood sample and whatever else they ask for, and it's going to be another 30 days to get stuff, I'm going to want, within reason, I'm going to want, extensions that have been talked about ahead of time. Like, hey, SBA could close in 60, 90 days. That's pretty realistic. But I've also heard some people tell me it can take as long as 6 months. So I'm trying, as I'm doing my underwriting and talking to brokers, being upfront and saying, hey, this could be an option if your seller, desires a structure that has absolutely zero seller carry. My first park that I have in Midland was seller carry. It was super simple. I'm not finding as many sellers who are doing that nowadays. So I'm having to do my research. I'm having to learn about what loans I can qualify for, what loans parks qualify for, and trying to have these conversations up front instead of giving the BS that the other two people who contracted you with and said, hey, I can quick close cash, and then started changing it. So that's not how we do business. And that's why I'm just asking some of these questions that I think are premature, but just curiosity based more than anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, definitely. And no, I think that sounds good. I mean, when you're ready, send over an offer. I just think, even if we did the escrow, like, 120-day due diligence and, another 90-day to close, maybe after 90 days, you put 60, 70 and for earnest money. And then after, 90 days, 5 or 10,000 becomes hard. And then, in another 60 days, another 5,000 becomes hard. Or, because it's, we're going to have to do some work on our end, to provide you all the, details and, try to work with you guys. But I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah. And this is all prelim too, right? I'm gonna look at the financials that you send me. I'm gonna go through it and see. I just figured I would ask while I had you on the phone.
Yep.
Okay.
Did you find it on Crupsy or LoopNet?
Well, so no, so we have so my husband and I are actively buying a handful of parks this year as allows via financing or whatever. We already have a park in West Texas. We have this park in Tennessee that I referenced under contract right now. So we are being sent multiple deals a day from people who know what we're looking for, right? So we have some bird dogs out there who are trying to be the people that send us, the next park that we're going to buy. Obviously, there's a lot of scrutiny going into each of these. So it came from a guy named Michael Peterson. I don't know if you know him. He's sending me a lot of deals a day, so I don't know if he's just getting them from Crexy and just spamming me. But I know he's not reaching out to agents. That's why I'm doing that. I'll look at a deal, and if it looks somewhat feasible, I've told him already. I'm like, I want to be in direct contact with the agent as the end buyer. I don't want anybody kind of messing up the middle.
Right. Yep. No, I get that.
So I couldn't tell you where he got it. I just know I got the OM with the Banta Property Group.
Because I think it's like an online electronic NDA, and then you should be able to get all the financials. And then the OM, I know it's pretty tight on there, but we do list out, I mean, that's all of our cost on there for the past 3 years, right? Our expenses. Electricity, water, maintenance, Wi-Fi, trash.
Okay.
That's all on there.
24, 25. 25 got a little blurry. I think I can make it work. Okay. And this is it. There's no other expenses that he's paying for the park.
And well, I mean, I guess you could, and we don't account for a management fee. I would think what I do is usually, 4.5%, 5% of the NOI, for if it's not going to be owner managed. Yeah.
Yeah. And we usually do. I mean, this park is a little bit smaller, but I did like a couple things about it, which is why I called. Yeah, we'd have to add it. We're not going to live on site, and we're not going to manage it for free. So we have an operator already. And preferably I'd find somebody, whether it's the same person that's there kind of doing, well, you said the guy that's there is a maintenance man, not a manager. So
yeah, and non-employed. There's no employees. Okay. It's the owner, and I'd probably, Woodward's a decent town, and get some part-time person, or maybe even another person that runs, a mobile home park or something. I don't think it would be tough to find a super part-time, manager. And what we've been doing is, if there's ever anything major, which there usually isn't, we just, we'll contact a handyman or electrician, a third party, and then just hire them, and then they come out. But you probably do want to be in contact with somebody at the park that can call you directly, if there's, a water leak or something like that. And
yeah, for sure. Okay, so you said the DD was in Crexy?
Yes.
The file? Okay.
And if you send me your email, I got a Google Drive folder full of stuff. Some of it's, I mean, some receipts and things like that. It might be a little overwhelming because it's, probably 30 files, but I try to do everything up front because we've been through it, before. What do you need and all of that. So if you send me your email, I'll share with you a Google drive, and it's got, things in there, and you can see, the trash and the Wi-Fi, those don't change. Those are pretty fixed cost. Wi-Fi is $125 a month. Water, electricity, there's no gas. But those, vary a little bit, but they're, just about the same every month. And then you got, property insurance, and it's, this park, it's pretty unassuming. I mean, it's not, probably your one in Tennessee's, pretty nice. I mean, it's a nice park. It's kind of a real RV park where you got trees and things like that. But it's, it's basic, but it works. It really does work. And the nice thing is it doesn't rely on tourism coming through. It helps in the summertime when people are driving to, West Texas or, Amarillo, Colorado, New Mexico. It's kind of that, Highway 270. You got to go through Woodward if you're traveling kind of out of state. So, but it's workers that are there, and it always has been since 2004.
Okay. Well, I think you've given me a lot to go off of, Zach. I got your email. I'll send you a recap kind of what we discussed, and send me that drive. It's going to be a duplicate of what's on Crexy, right? I can just wait for you to send me the email back.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I appreciate your time, and it's either going to work or it's not, once I run my numbers, but I do appreciate you kind of doing a deep dive into some stuff with me.
It's, and, people a lot say, why is it, still on market? And, we don't think we're too high on price. The seller wants what he wants, and, we're not selling a dud. It's, it's a good little thing. It's not too exciting, but it's, it's got a good track record.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting with you, and I'll follow up via email.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye. That last call went way deeper into some stuff that I didn't expect it to. I just brought it up because I'm like, man, let's see where this goes. So I apologize for it going, 20, 30 minutes over. And, the financing part of it, I'm learning that in real time, but that just continues to solidify his belief that I'm a real buyer, right? That I'm not just tire kicking. And these are, of course, things that you guys are going to learn along the way that I'm happy to share with you. I only know these things because it's been my life for the last 90 days, just going through the gamut. But just kind of learning to talk to these guys. Somebody had given me a compliment not too long ago. I try and remember to do it, especially on camera. But when you guys are talking to these agents, like, smiling really does convey across a phone call, even if somebody's not looking at you. So there is so many expressions that you can use to try and help, develop the rapport with an agent. I've found sometimes just letting them talk will do that. He didn't ask me too much about myself. I tried to insert it where I could to maybe, help build up. But if they're not asking, you guys don't have to tell them your experience or your track record if they're willing to give info. Commercial agents seem to be a lot nicer than single family home agents. As you guys saw, the 3 calls, they all answered, and they were all pretty willing to give all sorts of information. So
I noticed that when you started talking with him at first, he was a little bit kind of holding back, kind of wanting to get information in regards to you, and are you actually a legit? And then the more that you guys went back and forth and talked and you told him about stuff, the more he warmed up. So eventually he just started spilling. He just started talking and telling you, which was really nice to see.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, the rapport, building it up, getting him to trust you. That's an exceptional thing to have, because it will open so many doors all the way around.
100%. And like, these are people, right? This is their job. They want to sell these
Yep.
parks. So, you know, it's just us, being transparent, even with my first park, I got on the seller. It was a seller finance, but I told him, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have a friend that, told me he has like 6 RV parks and that's what I should do. And, the owner kind of chuckled. So, agents might not love hearing that as much because it is a riskier asset class, but there's so many deals out there. If you ruin one phone call, who cares? On to the next one. But most of these agents, appreciate the authenticity, right? You can share
Yeah.
certain things with them. Oh, Jeremy Parks is calling me back. He was the second park with the sellers that don't like the park they bought. Um, but yeah, it's silly stuff. But once you get them to open up, and it's just learning a couple of key phrases too, and just not, shooting the crap. The cool thing about everybody on this call today is you guys aren't learning to bird dog. You want to buy these parks for yourself, to build for yourself. So you are the end buyer. And that's something that you get to tell these agents. You have Lance and I, if you need to lean on, our schedule of real estate, or you need to lean on our track record, they don't need to know our relationship. You can just let us know, hey, I have a partner, they've ran this, they're showing me how to do it. No problem. But you guys are the end buyer. So you're not trying to tell them, oh, I want to tie this up under contract and see if I can wholesale it to somebody else. So that's really what they don't want. That's why he thought it was fishy when I told him 6 months. And that was probably not the right thing to say, hindsight, but I was able to explain it to him because that's how SBAs have been explained to me recently. And he seemed pretty open to it. He's like, hey, if we get to a certain point, a little bit of the money goes hard. And, they've lost contracts twice. Is the park overpriced? Yeah, probably. They're making, 113 net and there's no management fee in there. The thing's going to make 60 grand a year after I put my management fee in there. And,
Yep.
this wasn't in my buy box, but I just wanted to make some calls today with you guys, because you can really get almost any information from anybody. And the point of the phone call, I can get almost everything that I need from the OM, but I want to touch base with the agent. I want to start developing rapport. I want to start that, line of communication where they think I could be a viable option for their seller, a viable end buyer for their seller. Even Jeremy, who I'll call back in a few minutes after we're off this Zoom, and see what he thinks. They're working on maybe getting a contract together with the people who've made it in before us. I did, kind of like that park. Once again, didn't underwrite that one. It was just the first park. The last two were just kind of for educational purposes. But just ask the agents to bring you up to speed on the park and see if you can get them talking. What is it? Dale Carnegie said that, people's favorite word in all the dictionary is their name. Let them talk about themselves or their park, and they'll start warming up to you pretty quickly.
I noticed when I went on to Crexy and, would kind of go more into the OMs and do a little bit more of a deep dive into it. I've had 3 agents from Crexy give me a call, and I see that you went into, the information, and do you have any questions? Can I help you with anything? I don't know if Crexy gives them information from people that go in and do this checking, but it's really kind of, oh wow, okay, well, and then I get to talking with them, so it actually brings them to me, and which at first was odd, but okay, I'll accept it. I'll start asking. It's like, wait a minute, let me bring up the RV park because I looked at a couple. Which one, do you have? So, but yeah, I just find that Crexy has a way to kind of keep your information and send it to the agent. I
Yeah,
found that
so
odd.
yeah, I like that. So yeah, when you log into Crexy, because there are certain things that won't open up unless you're logged in. So you have email address and phone number, I think. I don't think it's really much more than that. Name, email, and and phone number. And then when you click on it, you know, when you do it on Zillow, Zillow's going to source like, oh, I want to know about this house. They usually don't source the direct agent on that house. They source an agent that's close to you that could represent you. Crexie doesn't do that. They're having the listing agent of the commercial
actual
property
agent, yeah.
call you back, thankfully, which is nice because you don't want some agent who wants to represent you that doesn't know anything about that. So yeah, I like Crexie. Parks and Places is good. They vet their people a little bit more. They're going to give you the rundown and ask you, you know, if you're in any paid groups and tell you they only want to deal with direct to buyer too, which once again is fine for this group. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, my kiddo's leaving.
That's okay.
I'm gonna get dogs out. Okay, thank you so much. Drive safely, baby. I love you. Love you. Okay. Her and my grandbaby just moved close to us, so I get to see them all the time. It's great. Yeah.
That's good. We like that.
Yep. I love it. So.
Yep. I live about 15 minutes away from mine, so.
That's the best. Thanks everybody for staying on with me for 2 hours. Okie dokie, I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, if anyone doesn't have any more questions, I'll see you guys later. You know how to reach me. Take care. Drive safe, Sean. Good seeing everybody.